First of all, like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the algorithm. This is Saladin Ahmed, this pale-skinned devil. First of all, please notice how pale his skin is. He is obviously a white-skinned person with dark hair, and very, very, very much a soy boy. Okay. Saladin is also a racist idiot. Let's take a look at this hot take. Spicy take. I made a video before this, but it was a little too spicy for YouTube, so I had to put it on BitChute. I'm going to try to keep this one a little less ranting and swearing and threatening the screen. Saladin Ahmed says, tired. Video games cause violence. Wired. No, they don't. Inspired. Because I'm woke. I'm a woke white Arab, I guess. Of course, video games don't cause violence, but it's always worth thinking about how any given game partakes in our omnipresent culture of misogynist, pale color, supreme violence against violence because lots of them do so. Where's the punctuation in this sentence, sir? Okay, first of all, misogyny in America? You're talking about America, right? Where is the misogyny in America? Misogyny in America is not by these European Americans. There was a study, I don't know if it was a study, it was like a BuzzFeed video where this pretty girl wears, a tight dress or short skirt or something, her big boobs sticking out, butt sticking out. Really, really, pretty middle-aged girl. She wasn't a girl, she was kind of like 30 or something, but she was pretty. And she was walking down like a busy city, New York or something. And they had like a hidden camera on her, and they want to show how much of the male gaze and male like catcalling and wolf whistling thing she gets. And so she's walking around for like 12 hours, and she gets some attention from guys. She gets guys saying stuff like, "Oh, hey, good morning, good afternoon, hey, pretty lady," that kind of stuff. But most of the comments were just, "Hello, how are you?" or "Hey, good morning, good afternoon." Very few of them actually said stuff like, "Hey, pretty lady," or "Hey, beautiful," stuff like that. The people who made those comments, none of them had pale skin. I think the most of them were Latino or African American. So I don't think, BuzzFeed was able to show the point that, I guess their point is that Latino men and African American men are friendly to beautiful women, and they say hello to beautiful women. They didn't really prove any misogynist points there. They just proved that African and Latino men like beautiful women, and they're not shy about telling you you're a beautiful woman. But I think they were all perfectly polite and respectful. My point is, it wasn't any of these pale-faced devils that I think even said hello to her. It was like 90% Latino and African. And I think that's a BuzzFeed video. It's kind of funny. So, misogyny, if you want to talk about misogyny in the Middle East or Africa, sure. Those are cultures that are actually misogynist cultures. Especially in some Islamic cultures practice Sharia law, where they will remove a young girl's clitoris because it is part of the requirement of the religion of peace is that the women cannot have sexual pleasure because they hate women. If you remove a young girl's clitoris, that means you are a culture that hates women, a venomous hatred of women. If it takes four women to testify against a man in a, I can't say the R word, the RAP with an E after it word, in a sexual battery case, it takes 4 women against 1 man because Sharia courts do not trust the word of women. In a non-sexual battery case, it takes 2 women to contradict the word of a man because Muhammad knew that women were half as honest as men. Don't hate on poor Bianca. That's in the Quran. There's no misogyny in America, you absolute thick moron. We have the 19th Amendment, and in the mid-60s, there's some Title something USC, means that's a federal code, federal law in the mid-60s, which was the Equal Pay Act. You're guaranteed by federal law if you do the same job, you'll get equal pay. People talk about a pay gap. There's no pay gap, or there's a very, very small one. When women are young, from their teenagers to their 30s, they actually make more than men. And then after that, men make more than women because they choose different jobs. Because women do a thing where they get pregnant and they make babies and they leave the workforce and then they come back to the workforce and they don't have the experience that men have. But if you're working the same job as a man, most likely you're going to get exactly the same pay. You might get, I think it's been shown it's like 5% less because women aren't as aggressive about getting raises. So anyway, okay. The second point of the statement is these pale-faced supreme violence, things you can't say on YouTube, or else they just bury the video. Is there this type of violence in America? Yeah, there's some, but there's the European Americans are 60-something% of the population. Latino Americans, I don't know, 20-ish%, and then the next biggest group is African Americans at 13% of the population, and then after that there's Arab, Middle Eastern, Indian, Chinese, but it's the majority is European, South American, Latino Americans, and African Americans. Guess what group is the least violent in America? Guess what group in America is the least violent? The least violent group in America is the group that's about 62% of the population, the European Americans. The most violent group as a percentage of race per capita are the African Americans. Saladin Ahmed knows he can make a statement like this because he knows that most people are scared to say what I just said. Because they fear for their jobs, and they know that if they say these things, it makes everyone very, very uncomfortable. You can check the FBI crime stats. You can check your state crime stats. You can check your county and your city crime stats. It's not these pale-faced devils committing crime. You know this. I know this. CNN knows this. MSNBC knows this. CNN and MSNBC will go so far as to, when a white devil commits a crime, they will show you his face, give you his name, and make sure that you know it is a white person. When a non-white person commits a crime, they won't show his face or give their name. There are YouTube videos that make fun of this all the time because the media also hates white people. So some of these people know that Saladin Ahmed is, they're complaining, one, that he believes video games cause violence, and two, that you live in a misogynist America, and three, that white people are responsible for the violence. All those things are absolute nonsense. Yes, he's an idiot. Believing that video games have a culture of misogynist, pale, supreme violence is ignorant and idiotic as hell. The salt doesn't exist, but your stupidity does. I too like to think about things that have no proven effects, not even measly cultivation of militaristic attitudes. Thinking about things that aren't there is a good pastime. Yes, please, aliens, come down and wipe us out. This is a woke take. If video games are the cause of violence, why aren't there any daily mass shootings in Japan? Because Japan is an ethno-state of Japanese people. They are a high impulse control, high IQ, high trust society. America is diverse. It has benefits as well as problems. Oh my God, Bianca said America is diverse and that causes problems. Read the crime stats. Tell me what you think. Or South Korea or China as well. Yeah. Okay, this guy, he's a complete and total idiot. But you can read Saladin Ahmed's tweet. It's just a couple hours a day old or something. Canadians, Europeans, and Asians play just as much video games as Americans. I don't know what video games are so misogynist either. Most popular game right now is Fortnite. Yeah, I don't... What... Japanese games and Japanese anime have women with just unbelievably tiny waists and huge breasts, and just... it is just a very sexually liberated country, I guess is a nice way of saying it. Let's see what this guy has said. I see I'm going to have to diagnose you with mental retardation. Yes, gamers rise up. Saladin Ahmed has something wrong with his brain. But he knows nobody's going to call him on it because all his left-wing friends are scared to say who's causing the violence. And they know it's not. These white devils. I played Stairway to Heaven backwards and it said the pay gap isn't real. Misogyny everywhere. Roughly 8,000% of all women are being hunted down in broad daylight and chained to mobile kitchens, and 500,000% of them are non-white. Dan Maplethorpe says, long exasperated sigh. Is it, though? But, okay, so people are calling him out for saying video games don't cause violence, but nobody wants to touch the political third rail of saying who causes the violence. And you know who doesn't cause the violence. It's not the evil English Americans, European Americans. Says he got blocked. He spouts off Dan Knight with racist hate speech, and he can't handle one mocking tweet. What a cuck. I don't understand about Saladin Ahmed is he's literally as light-skinned as an Englishman. He has dark hair, probably has dark eyes, but so that means he could be Portuguese, Spanish, or Greek, or Italian. He literally has whiter skin than most Mediterranean Europeans. Books don't cause pale supremacist violence, but that doesn't mean the Turner Diaries doesn't suck. The same holds for video games. Doesn't mean I haven't read the Turner Diaries. I don't know what those are. Charles K. Friedman. Okay, soy boy. I do think the online anonymity allows the privileged to say monstrously hateful things. Okay, there's nobody more privileged in America right now than people who look like or have names like Saladin Ahmed. They are the most privileged people in the world. They get hired at the big comic professionals. The girl Wong, who called C.B. Cebulski a racist, was hired by Marvel because she's Chinese. She called him a racist, and she got hired by the very same company. I can see why you get paid to write, because that's a fucking imagination you got. Dude, you're absolutely right. 2 negates 3 and reveals 3 is just your pretentiousness, genius. Those games are available in almost every other country, too. The difference is that guns are not generally available in other countries, so stop skirting the issue. True, Japan doesn't have readily available guns, neither does South Korea. However, Sweden does, and some European countries do, but they don't have comparable levels of violence. Because it's not the Europeans who are committing the violence. And it's not the Asians who are committing the violence either. And you know this. Everyone knows this. But these kind of tweets, these kind of virtue signaling, it's just the epitome of cowardice. Because very, very few people are going to say what I just said. Because it makes everyone uncomfortable and awkward. But you can't let the media carry. When Don Lemon gets on CNN and he talks about the most dangerous people in America or something like young white men, something like that, it's just nonsense. Because, Don, please point to some stats that back up your claim. People who look like Don cause the most violence in America. Facts are, it's just a statistical fact. There's no way to get around that. Blue check mark, bad hot take, yep, checks out. So it's not the video games that cause violence, it's the video games that cause violence. What in the hell? If problematic causal tweet links may be that ethereal, then let's also discuss omnipresent anti-white racism and routinely labeling things white supremacists. Oh, that is good. That is good. Yeah. Saladin Ahmed is an idiot. And there's very little misogyny in America. If you want to talk about the Middle East, yeah, sure. Talk about Africa, sure. Even in South America, sure. Anyway, I don't trust the GOP to handle that investigation. Why? People who are in the GOP, people who look like that, do not cause violence. This guy's an idiot. Anyway, I saw this, and Bounding into Comics has an article on this. So have a good laugh at Saladin Ahmed. maybe not right at this moment when a tiny contributor to a culture of misogynist European supreme violence is being used to deflect our attentions from the major causes. The major causes of pale devil violence, you don't have to worry about the pale people causing violence because they don't. They're the majority of the population. They cause the smallest amount of violence. You know this, Morgan Stern. I know this. FBI crime stats know this. The media knows this. Anyway, this guy's an idiot. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next episode.